Chapter 12 of Betty Baird by Hamlin Weikel. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Holly Jensen. Chapter 12. At Home for Christmas. She was going home for Christmas. Oh, joy! On the train, her heart sang in unison with the click of the wheels on the rails. Christmas had always been a wonderful event for her, but now it meant not only that, but going home after 4 months' absence to Father and Mother and Edith and Miss Jane and Elder Huggentugler and the others. Betty was met at the station by her father, behind whom stood Edith and all the girls of the old crowd. They were eager to see in what way she had changed, for they fully expected a great difference. When she got off the car, they saw her in the very same clothes she had worn when she went away. But oh, the hat was so new and stylish. Anyone could see that it came straight from New York. Her joy on seeing them proved that she had not grown proud. There was a settled belief among them that boarding schools make girls stuck up. Betty and her father walked on ahead, while the escort of honor, consisting of Edith, May, Ada, Jane, Martha, and Sally, followed close behind. She looked back every minute or two to say something to her followers, and in between times they discussed her. "She is taller," said Edith. "She is pretty. I didn't know she was pretty," said May. "Where in the world were your eyes?" asked the loyal Edith. "Her hat is becoming," contributed Ada. A few gay words from Betty, and the inventory would continue. "She's just as cute as ever," avouched Jane, after one of Betty's speeches over her shoulder. "I wonder if she has any new poetry," said Edith, and she ran on ahead to ask, coming back joyfully to announce that she had a great deal, and some new songs, too. "She will sing and recite at our Christmas entertainment. And oh, girls, she was in a play!" "Oh!" ejaculated the group in a long-drawn breath. When Mrs. Baird had Betty in her arms, she said to herself, "I can never, never let her go away again," and Betty felt that she could never leave. Old Kitty showed all her shining teeth as she welcomed her with a loving scolding. "Hurry up now, chile. Everything'll be dead cold if you don't get a move on you." There was her favorite jelly on the table, and holly leaves and berries added to the cheer. It was a royal homecoming. For 10 days her tongue hardly ceased. Every detail of her life at the Pines was rehearsed for the satisfaction and amazement of all willing listeners. Of course her mother was always there, and was a glad listener to things she had heard a dozen times, and each time with a glow of satisfaction or indignation or surprise, whatever the emotion the story demanded. But the slights on account of her clothes Betty told only to her mother. Her father stole downstairs from his study again and again to listen without comment to the school stories, his pale face flushing with pride when she related her Latin triumphs, triumphs she had not thought much about until she found how they pleased her parents. Betty never allowed anything to lose by the telling. She was truthful, yet she was, above all, graphic. She delighted in lively narrative, and she made the girls' hair stand on end as she described the midnight frolics. Miss Jane came to see her with eyes alight with pleasure, and snapped out, "Well, I carc'late you're more stuck up 'n ever." "Oh, Miss Jane," remonstrated Betty, with an assumed offended air, raising her hands protestingly. "I thought you would be so glad to see me, and you begin to scold the first thing." "I can't begin too soon," she replied, shaking her head sagely, while she rummaged through her bag for her knitting and spectacles. When she had adjusted her glasses and settled herself to her knitting, sitting up straight as a ramrod, she looked over her glasses complacently at Betty, who was talking to Edith and showing her photographs of the schoolgirls. "I guess, 'Lizbeth, there wasn't many better dressed girls 'n you at that high-ton school o' yourn, was they?" "High? Nothing but the tower," answered Betty, who wanted to avoid reference to her clothes. She had not brought home her lilac silk, as she felt it would hurt Miss Jane to see the alterations made so soon. She could in fancy hear her criticism of certain rough inside seams, and the complacent comparison with her own neat finish. "Highty-tighty," answered Miss Jane, and Mrs. Baird, knowing Betty's purpose, sent her out on an errand. "That child is changed, Mrs. Baird. 'Lizbeth's different. She is still a colt, but a tamed one." At the Christmas entertainment of the Sunday school, Betty recited and sang. Usually the program was a pretty slow affair, but this night it was given color and dash by her personality and her gifts in music and recitation. Her several numbers were received with great applause, particularly the last. A recitation, which accompanied by her vivid dramatic action, caused great excitement. So great, indeed, that Mr. Jones, solemn and red, short and rotund, approached her in an embarrassed manner, and extending his right arm as he swung off to one side, dropped into her outstretched hand 3 pink peppermints, while Elder Huggentugler turned around, and tilting back his chair and reaching back to her over the intervening shoulders, tossed into her lap a poke o' peanuts, with the words, "Betty, you done beautiful." The 10 days flew by all too swiftly, and Betty found herself once again at the Pines. Miss Greene welcomed her with evident satisfaction. "I was afraid they would keep you," she said. "Bishop Wayborn has been asking about you. He says Reginald contends that you are the first girl he ever knew who was equal to a boy." "Hope not for mind in women," was her indifferent comment. "I think I shall have to spend this year in trying to break that habit of quoting, Elizabeth," said Miss Greene, semi-seriously. End of chapter 12. Recording by Holly Jensen.